Are you married and unhappy in your relationship because your partner is not wanting to do some work that they have to do? Perhaps your partner is an alcoholic or a gambler or a cheater. Perhaps your partner is depressed or emotionally walled off. And you're the one who wants to work on things and you're unhappy. And I just want to tell you that, in my opinion, there is no redeeming quality in the eyes of God or anyone that makes you a good person for abandoning yourself to be in the service of someone who is refusing to be an adult. I thought that I was a good person for staying married. I really did. I thought I was a good person for being married. And there, you may have reasons for staying married, okay? It could be your finances, it could be the kids. Yet be aware of getting support for yourself. Because in hindsight, staying married for me to someone who was emotionally walled off, who would not let me express romantic or sexual affection, who was kind to me but had sex with me regularly, but it was a quickie, all physical. And this emotional neglect was not good for me because I found coping mechanisms that were unhealthy. And later on, when I stopped using coping mechanisms, I became very emotionally depleted and wounded. So by the time I finally left that marriage, it took me years. It took me years to get my center back. So I just really have not made a video like this before. I really, really want to explain to you that it's depleting to live with people who are not emotionally healthy and happy. If they're angry and not dealing with it, if they're complainers, if they're victims, if they have drank too much, spent too much, whatever issues the people in your house have, they impact you. We are influence each other. And being in a relationship with someone like that who cannot even give you a relationship is very traumatizing. I'm going to say it was traumatizing for me. And I didn't know it. I didn't really realize it. And it took me years to get over it. It didn't take him that long because he didn't feel traumatized. See, he had no problem at all. I was the one who had the problem. I was so unhappy. He wasn't that unhappy because he was kind of walled off. He wasn't that unhappy. I was super unhappy. So the thing is, if you're really unhappy in your marriage, please talk to your partner kindly. Let them know that you would like the marriage to be better, that you're unhappy, and see how they feel about it. See if they will go to counseling with you. And if they don't, go alone. Go alone so you have some support, and consider what your steps might be for eventually leaving, because there is no glory in heaven for staying married forever. People have this pride. I had it too. Oh yeah, I'm Sharzad Morgan. I have a bachelor's in computer science. I have an MBA. I've got 3 intelligent, healthy children, and I've been married over 20 years. That was like my ego. I took pride in that. Hey, I didn't get divorced like these other people. I have a marriage that stands the test of time. But I wasn't happy in that marriage. And I thought I was doing a good thing by staying married, because isn't that what we're supposed to do? We're not supposed to annihilate ourselves. We're not supposed to be around people who ignore us and neglect us. And these people are a mirror. And he was a mirror to me. He was a mirror to me, showing me that I was allowing myself to be ignored, invalidated, not respected, and not loved. was a mirror to me. And the longer I was in a relationship with someone who couldn't love me the way that I deserved to be loved, I was just hurting myself. I was hurting myself, and I thought I was this good woman for staying married. When people tell me, oh, I've been married 50 years, I've been married 40 years, I automatically already think down on that, because that number means nothing. To me, that number means, in my mind, you're afraid to leave. It can't be that great. Come on. To me, it means you're afraid to leave. You're stuck in a rut. That's what I think. I'm judgmental on that. There's so much renewal. That's the other thing I want to say, guys. There was so much renewal for me out of my divorce. Looks like I wasn't even really out in the sun. I look sunburned. I tan so easily. All I did today, I went to the grocery store around 1 o'clock, and I was out in the sun for maybe 5 minutes total. It tans so easy. That's why I don't want to be in the sun. I do not want to get age spots, but I don't use sunscreen. I digress. Staying married that long did not make me a better person. And okay, that's what I was going to say. Getting divorced was super freaking hard. I never wanted to get divorced. But like I said, I was hurting myself by staying in that marriage. And I'm glad I had my family life. We have fabulous kids, and I loved having a family life because my parents divorced when I was young. My dad was always gone, and I didn't have a family life then, and I had it then. But I wish I would have had some support, but we couldn't afford therapy for me, and he didn't want to go. Anyway, when I got divorced, I got a chance to fucking shine. So I had a lot of freedom when I was married, and I did a lot of stuff that I wanted, but I had a lot of ways I was trapped. Financially trapped, trapped in the marriage. I couldn't just do whatever I wanted. I had responsibilities, and that's good. I was supposed to, But as a independent single woman, I could create whatever I wanted. I could go back to college. I could do different jobs. I could decorate my home the way I wanted, create work that I wanted, make these YouTube channels, what time I go to bed. Like, I am responsible for no one but me. I don't even have pets. I've got these plants. I'm going to take a little detour and show you guys my plants on the balcony. My ex-husband hated living in apartments. He always wanted to be in a house he could fix up and with a lot of land, like many acres. And I fucking love this apartment. I've lived in this apartment for 9 years, and I fucking love my apartment. I never want to leave it, As one example, the first thing I did when I moved in here was I bought unsalted butter, because he always wanted it salted, and I keep my air conditioner where I want, and I do work that I want, and I make more money than he ever did, and I live an amazing life. So if you are unhappily married, I want you to know, number one, consider it's causing you trauma. It's not good to stay in unhappy relationships with someone who doesn't want to do any of the work, and you're just hurting yourself. And your kids look up to you, and they're like, my mom is a coward, my dad is a coward. So get into some therapy with everyone, figure out how you're going to deal with your misery, and see what your coping mechanisms are, because you're going to have coping mechanisms to escape the misery of that relationship. For me, it was Vicodin, fantasizing about women, um, reading a lot of reading, spending time with my kids, spending money I shouldn't have on the kids especially. And then when I left, this is my second point, my life got, not initially, it took a few years for me to get used to being alone, but my life got infinitely better. Infinitely better. Now, if you think you're going to find another relationship when you're divorced, I think it depends on your age. When you're in your 20s, and especially if you're in college, you're around a lot of young people. There are single people everywhere. But the older you get, the fewer single people there are. And if you want someone who is physically and emotionally and mentally healthy, your pickings get slimmer, slimmer, and slimmer of the single people. And I never thought I would still be single, but I'll tell you what, I would rather be single till the rest of my days, living this life, than being in the marriage I had, and my marriage wasn't even abusive. He was a pretty nice guy. But I would rather be single in this life, and it took me a long fucking time to get here. So if you're struggling after your divorce, it's okay. It's okay. It takes time. If your spouse has died or divorced, it takes time to get your new groove, to get your brain used to being alone, to build a whole new life. So here are some tips. Find some communities to support you, like meetup groups for divorced people, for widowers, for single people. Get a therapist or a coach. Find things that you enjoy. Think about things you've always wanted to do that you didn't do when you were little. Painting, learning an instrument. I highly recommend you join an exercise group or personal trainer. Pickleball, racquetball, tennis, skating, running, hiking, camping. Get out in nature and move your body. Find something you enjoy. Swimming, walking, weightlifting, yoga, bar. Especially out. Get out of the house, get around other people, and find things that you enjoy, because I tell you, there were many years I felt sad and lonely. And it took me time to work through it, and now I'm on the other side, and it's fucking amazing. Fucking amazing. Yes. I kid you not. You can, if you have money, you can travel. And hey, you can watch videos, but I think the real joy comes more in doing things. You know, cooking the food that you want to cook, not that your spouse liked. Because you can throw out all their shit. You can spend your money the way you want to spend it. Turn the air conditioner to where you want the air conditioner. You don't have to listen to their stupid TV shows. You can live the life that you frickin' want. And my ex-husband always had his newspaper messes, and I don't have to clean that shit up anymore. And my apartment's always clean. Yes. But let's get away from celebrating someone being married for 50 years. Are you happy? When I hear people who are married that long, I'm like, you're just a freaking coward. I am judgmental right now. I think they're cowards. They're afraid to leave, and now they're just like settled in till death do them part. No matter how fucking miserable they are. And there's probably no sex happening. I have great sex now. I have great sex. I don't have sex anymore with guys telling me no to kissing, for example. So, you know, whatever you want to do that your spouse wouldn't let you do, there are people who will want to do it. Better people, more suited, especially if you're a person who kept growing and your spouse did not. They're holding you back. I didn't never realize how much he was fucking holding me back. Holding me back. I know it's been so long, but he's the last relationship I had, so I tend to still think about it. And yes, I held myself back because I couldn't keep growing. That's why I finally left him. I couldn't keep growing, and now I can't keep growing. It's fucking amazing. But the other day I was talking to some people who had all been married over 50 years, and I felt sorry for them. Like, um, that's like, I'm sorry, I think of spoiled milk. Like, that's too fucking long. Why don't you guys part ways and start over with someone else? Or on your own, just to get some renewal. But hey, that's just me speaking from my own experience. I could be jaded. I'm going to call it jaded on marriage. Because I really am jaded on marriage.